PodcastOne presents the Steve Austin Show Classics.
Diamond Dallas Page, a self-made man, a guy who worked his ass off. This show was always dedicated to the working man and the working woman out there. And I wanted to focus specifically on a big part of Dallas's career. And I know, Dallas, it's a part of your career that you're very, very proud of. It was Feud of the Year for 1997 with Randy Macho Man Savage. And this is a guy who I always wanted to work with in a long, extended program at a high level, and that never happened. I did a JOB for Randy back in the day in Orlando when we were in WCW doing those TV tapings down there, and that just was what it was. It was a quick job, but I had so much respect for the guy. You have been plowing along. You've been gaining all this information from guys that helped you out, from Sarge, Buddy Lee Parker there in the school, Jody Hamilton dropping some words of wisdom to you, hooking up with Jake the Snake Roberts, who would help your in-ring style, your persona, your psychology, your promo. All of a sudden, you plow forward. Comes a time you're going to get an opportunity to work with Randy Macho Man Savage. How does this happen? Because you've come up the hard way. There's a lot of other players up there. What made Randy say, I've got to work with this cat?
Well, it was coming off, the whole thing, it was really funny because me and you, we were both trying to be heels. And
right.
The people just wanted to fucking cheer for us, and for me, it happened because of the diamond cutter, and it happened because it came out of nowhere in job matches, and the move was getting over. And when I realized the booking committee wasn't going to push me, I figured, fuck them. I created that sign. It was actually Ron Reese, the big 7-footer, who never really became a name in the business, but he gave me that. He said, Diamond, you ever think about doing this before you do the diamond cutter? And I was like, wow, diamond defense, because I was a basketball player. I was like, fuck, maybe that'll work. And once I realized it was starting to catch on, I made it the focus for everything. And I just talked about the diamond cutter coming out of nowhere. And then, Scott and Kev came to WCW, and they couldn't have been any hotter. And I was the only guy with a real relationship with the both of them. I managed Scott and helped create his gimmick, and he was my first tag partner ever, and I was tag team partners with Kevin Nash. So they weren't, I'd gotten to the middle of the card, and what I used to say is, and this, I have to segue this one little, it was a defining moment in my life. Dusty Rhodes was my mentor off to the side for the business, and he would let me bitch or vent on him at times. And I was so pissed. I'd come out of this meeting with the booking committee, and I was like, Dusty, they're just never going to give me what I used to call the Jake Roberts, Rick Rude spot, which was a shot at being the top guy, a shot at being the upper guy in the business. But whenever Rick Rude came to the ring or Jake Roberts came to the ring, you never knew if they were going to win, lose. You didn't know. I don't give a fuck who they were going against. You didn't know. That's the spot I aspired to be in. And I was like, Dream, they're just never going to give me that fucking opportunity. I mean, I know I'm never going to be you or Flair or Hogan. I mean, I know I'm never going to be the world champion, but fuck, man, they're never going to. And he just cut me off. He goes, what did you just say? And I said, well, Dream, come on, I know I'm never going to be you or Flair or Hogan. He goes, no, what did you say after that? I said, well, dude, they're never going to put the world title on me. He goes, then what the fuck are you doing this for? He said, Dallas, if you do not think that you have the ability to be the world champion as hard as you work, who you work to be, and you don't think you can be the world champion, he goes, you need to get the fuck out of this business right now. And I swear to God, bro, I wrote it down with him on the phone. I will be the world champion in 5 fucking years. And I wrote it just like that. And fucking it was 4 years, 4 months, and 14 days. That's when April 11th came around, and I was the world champ. But it happened, the whole shift changed when Scott and Kev came in, and I shot that. They shot the angle with me, and it was my idea that they give me the NWO shirt, and I tell them to go fuck themselves.
I remember that.
And that was the beginning. Hold on one second. Just pause on me right there. You walk in the door to the left. It's a little bottle right there. So what happened right there was I brought the idea, knowing that the Booker Company wasn't going to do anything with me. I went to Kevin because I knew Kevin and Scott created their own destiny. I went to Kevin, told him my idea, and he loved it. And he said, go tell Bischoff. I go, no, I got to tell Scott. And he goes, dude, you don't think Scott's looking to pay you back for creating his gimmick and giving him a job when his wife was pregnant? By the way, she was pregnant with Cody. You know? And he's like, don't you think he wants to help you? I go, yeah, but he's doing the job. He's doing the diamond cutter, so I got to ask him. So I went and asked Scotty. He was like, done. That night, we go to the bar because we had the luxury of having Nitro on, and then they played it again. So we could all go to the bar and drink some beers and some shots and watch the show. So I went with Nash and Hall, and we sat down with Bischoff at one of the tables in the bar. And I had Kevin tell him the idea where I took the shirt on, hugged Kevin. Scotty gives me the high five. He goes to shake, and as he goes to leave, bang. Kevin comes at me over the top rope, through the table. I take off through the people. Kevin pitches it, and Bischoff shakes his head. And he goes, I don't know. You know, nobody's dropped you guys yet. And Scott Hall steps up, and he says, if being you, I know you guys are tight. He goes, and being your friend is a detriment, I don't know if I want to work here. I was like, wow. You know, I always say it's not about who you know or who you know or who knows you. I always say it's who's willing to say they know you. Who's willing to put their name on the line for you? And those two fuckers did it right there. So when we did that and that fucking place exploded, Randy being one of the smartest guys in the business, and you know if you could stay on top for 5 years, you really made an impact. But if you can stay on top for 10, 15, or 20 years, well, you fucking really know how to play the game that we did. And Randy, that motherfucker had been on top for 20 years. And he saw, okay, finally Diamond's hot. I want to work with him. Because I wasn't going to make that call. I think I want to work with Randy Savage right now. I had zero stroke. So it was such a compliment to me. And here's a backstory on that angle. This is 2 months before. Me and Bischoff are sitting at the Longhorn Saloon where we used to drink all the time and catch some steak and beers and shots or whatever and, you know, talk about the business. And one night I go, I got to tell you something. He goes, what's up? I said, Kimberly, you know, has been in blondes, brunettes, and redheads and a bunch of satellite Playboy shit. You know, it's like there's satellite issues. I said, a couple of months ago, they contacted her for celebrity nudes. We're talking about, the chick who was from Baywatch, Pamela Anderson and Nicole Smith, Cindy Crawford, the most beautiful women ever in Playboy. And they want to film pictures with Kim and me, like me going to put my boots on and her just about to put a dress on. So shit like that. So they take us in, and I tell Bish, they brought us in, they shot us for a 2-page spread. Playboy loved it so much, they asked us to go back and shoot again for a 6-day spread. They go, Kimberly's going to be naked on there? I go, it's Playboy. Of course she's going to be naked. And you're in it? He goes, you might lose your job. You got a morality clause. And I said, well, then maybe Vince will do something with it. And long story short, that became our angle where Savage brought out that Playboy issue where Kim was in the centerfold and spray painted NWO in black over her nipples and the crack of her ass. And that became our whole angle and why they attacked her and blah, blah, blah. But it was amazing to be in that spot with Savage. And the really, when I first did everything I did with Savage in the beginning, I barely felt him, because he was so smooth. But as soon as that friggin' light, that camera came on, and it was impact time, the first time he hit me, I seen a big blue flash. He knocked the shit out of me. And you were talking about that elbow up the top rope. Man, you taking it, you know. When that elbow comes down on you, he comes down on you.
But the thing I always heard about Savage was, I mean, you really had to gain that guy's trust because he truly didn't trust anybody. So how was the guy wired? What was it like just talking to that guy one-on-one? Because this was a long-running feud. This was the feud of the year. So what did it take you to gain his trust or for you to trust him?
Well, to me, I had no other choice, for starters, and that would come in time. But the whole thing with Randy, he wasn't going to put you over until he knew it was going to mean something. So we had done that loop going into that pay-per-view, and we'd worked together about 12 times by that time. But there was never a finish, like ever. It was always, I'd come back and boom, big NWO run-in, schmaz, I get left laying. And one night in Florence, South Carolina, Arn Anderson walks in to, the dressing room, and just me and Randy just happened to be there. And we're getting ready for the match. We're in the main event. Now, I have to prelude this to let you know that Arn Anderson let me know in a booking meeting one time that I was never going to be a top guy because I was perceived that I would never be, that I wasn't a top guy. And he told me because Savage, Hogan, Sting, Flair, or Luger will ever put you over. It was a pretty heated discussion we had, me and him. Long story short, this is about a year or so later. And he's coming in to ask Randy, what do you want to do for the finish? And Randy looks up at him, goes back to putting his boots on. He goes, I think I want to take the diamond cutter. And Arn almost fell over. And me too. And he says, Diamond, I hope you realize what an honor this is. And I looked at him like, are you fucking kidding me? Did you really just say that to me? I go, yeah, I do, Arn. And I love Arn. But at the time, we were still in that spot,
Right.
And I really do. I have a shitload of respect for him. But there was just conflict we had going into that. So we get out there and we do our match. It's Florence, South Carolina. There's no cameras. We have a hell of a match. I fucking blow a huge comeback. Boom, he shuts me down. He goes to slam me, and I turn into a diamond cutter, and that fucking roof blew off. And I just laid there as the ref went, no, whatever he had done, counting it off, and I just lay my arm across him. 1, 2, 3, and it was like there was a moment of silence, and then the roof exploded. And because the fans could not believe I just fucking beat him, And the internet wasn't as live as it is today because they wouldn't have done that because it would have went all over the internet. I beat them. You know what I mean? So they couldn't have done this today. But all over Twitter, everybody would tweet, DDP beat Savage, oh my God. So he's laying there looking up at the lights. I'm laying there facing the mat. And you watched Maxwell Smart back in the day, back when we were kids, It was like the cone of silence, Steve, came down over us. And as loud as it was, I could barely hear them. All I heard was, well, I guess we know what we're going to do at Spring Stampede.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, man. I was like, if he's ribbing me, I don't give a fuck. And then we got there, we did that, and he just took that diamond cutter off the chain, and that first Spring Stampede was amazing. It was 2 days off my birthday, and then we came back with it. We would have gone right back in the next month. You know how it goes. But Randy tore his Achilles, which friggin' pushed it back a month, and the booking committee started to push us down the card. And Randy went, oh, man, having a pit bull in your corner to keep your shit alive. And he went right to Hogan. And we did this angle where he came out cutting his promo about me with crutches. And they were shoot crutches, the aluminum ones that he needed. And I came out and, went at him, and he got out of the way, and he grabbed Liz, and he, dropped one of the crutches. So I picked the crutches up, and I went to hit him with the crutch, and, he pulled Liz in front, and, he dropped the other crutch, and Hogan came back from behind me, picked up the other crutch, and right as I'm about to get Randy, of course, Hulk clobbers me with the crutches, right? And that motherfucker, I gotta tell you, he whipped me like I stole his family jewels. He whipped me with those crutches. I'm watching pieces fly off that fucking crutch like jettison left and right. And a side note, I go back, to the locker room, thank Hulk for whipping the shit out of me, thank Randy. And Kevin Green, remember him, the football player?
Oh, absolutely.
So Kevin's there, and I just got out of the shower, right? I'm going to grab something behind the monitor. So for anybody who knows, the monitor is where we watch the show in the back. And Kevin Green's face goes, Diamond, what the hell happened to your back? I go, didn't you just watch that out there? Like, his eyes got big as grapefruits. He's like, oh, my God, that was, like, real. I go, yeah. It was. And I just walked away. But to see his face, and that kept us alive. And the promos that we did, and the following pay-per-view, we did it. And anybody, because I know a lot of people watch YouTube and stuff, the following pay-per-view, I went out and cut a promo on Savage with the crutch, because I just got the shit whooped out of me with the crutches. And what happened was, when he came to the ring, they pulled him back, and they pulled him back and forth. And when I finally, when they sent the NWO, I started whipping motherfuckers with these crutches. And I think it was Bagwell or it was Vincent, I'm not sure, Virgil. I went to hit him across the stomach, and a piece of, I'll find it, Steve, and send it to you, a piece of the crutch, which is an inch around, and it's aluminum, and it's jagged, and it's 7 or maybe 12 inches. It breaks off on his stomach and starts heading into the audience. Oh, missile, bro, going I don't know how many miles an hour. But thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. I've said it 1,000 times, even when I still watch it. It hits the middle rope and bounces back. What's the odds of that?
You're listening to another classic episode of The Steve Austin Show, only on PodcastOne.
Hey, it's Adam Carolla from The Adam Carolla Show. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch and bet on games as they happen, with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball as well. BetOnline has NHL, MMA, and championship boxing, all your betting needs in one place. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. So have some fun. Make these games and these events and these combat sports a little more interesting with BetOnline. BetOnline. The game starts here.
Well, it's like when I broke that cane on Brian Pillman. That was a duckhead handle, it was a brass handle, and that thing flew off and hit the barricade right there before it smoked somebody in the head in the aisle. I got lucky as well. There's some crazy shit that goes on in the ring. What'd you like best about working with Randy Savage?
The promos. I loved the promos. Number one, there was one of my favorite promos ever. It's out there on YouTube. It's right going, I think it's coming into the second match, or whatever, the first match, because he didn't know my name. That was part of the gimmick. I don't know what's his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. What is it? So when he finally he cuts the promo on me after I have a match, he comes in the audience, and he says some shit like, Diamond Dallas Page, what are you, some kind of gemologist or something? And then he gets into, we're going to find out at Spring Stampede whether Diamond Dallas Page has any family jewels at all. And that got like a huge pop, you know?
Right.
And I had no idea how he was going to end it. And Gene went to close it out, and I grabbed the mic, and I go, "Well, Macho Man," and the place popped because I'm imitating him. I was like right on with him at that time, and I said, "Since I'll be bringing the lady," I go, "and don't forget to bring that little bimbo Liz with you." And that got a real like, whoa. I go, "Since I'll be bringing the lady, you might as well bring the tramp." And fucking to watch him, what did he say? Because it was like, I didn't tell I was going to see all this shit when you're out there, and you know what you're going to say, but you save some shit for your other guy to zing it with to get his shoot reaction, you know. That was fun, man. And the match themselves, you know me. I like to lay my shit out. I like to know where I'm on the match. But I always call the best preparation with improvisation. With Savage, we knew exactly where we were going to go at all times, but we would drift off all the time, man. And right on cue, come right back to where we were. We wanted to be in that match, and you know, it was an awakening, man, to the business like I never could have gotten. It was sort of like what you did with Brett. You know, and what really exploded your career, you know. I had that with Randy, and it was really special. And one of my favorite things was the La Parker thing, which you had brought up. And
I actually thought you was La Parker. I remember that match. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was awesome.
Nobody knew, Steve. I'll tell you who knew. Terry Taylor, because he was in charge of some part of the shit backstage. Sully, of course, knew. Bischoff knew. Randy knew. I knew. And La Parker had no idea why he was summoned to the ice skate. This was like one of those 12,000, people arenas that the guys that got the local hockey team, So maybe it was like 8 to 12,000 people. And it was, I can't remember what show. I think it was Nitro. I can't remember what show it was. So I go to the skate room, and there's La Parka, and he speaks next to no English. And we're sitting around, and we got hours to sit around. So at some point, spoken in broken Spanish, I get him up and showing me how he walks, and then me imitating him, then him showing me, then me imitating, and then how do you do this? So I did all the little manners. I had hours, bro, before I got in. So I got the gimmick on, and you'll appreciate this, because one of the baddest son of a bitches ever in our business, Paul Ordorf, he's an agent at the time, and he's going around just saying what the finish is, and he's giving it to different groups of guys, and he's got his glasses on, and he's looking down at the sheet, and I guess he comes over, he knocks on the door. I open the door, and he goes, okay. He used to call him La Parker. That was his La Park up, and he called La Parker. Okay, all right, okay, you're going over to finish. And he looks up at me, and he sees my blue eyes, and he goes, you're not La Parker. And I just looked at him. He goes, I love it. And he walked away. And to go out there, I knew friends of mine who worked in the company who were home that night. And when they saw it, jumped out of their seats going, Paige is going to kill La Parker. Oh, my God, I can't believe he used his finish. And then when I pulled my mask off, man, that was exhilarating. That was a crazy moment.
Hey, how about, he had to have been probably the most intense cat you ever worked with, Randy Savage, correct?
Absolutely. I'll give you how intense. At Thanksgiving, like our angle had started on my birthday in April. So now it's Thanksgiving, and this guy, he's made me. He's put me in that spot. And Kevin and Scott, they lit the rocket. He took it home, and I had a lot of people back then. Remember, we all had pagers back then, so I was getting all these pages from people. Happy Thanksgiving, D. Thanks so much for helping me, get in the company. I helped like 30 guys get jobs. So I had a lot of guys that were, being very appreciative at Thanksgiving time. I'm thinking, who am I thankful to? After about like the 28th one, I'm like, fuck, who am I thankful to besides Dusty, Jake, my family, people who know, because I would tell them all the time. I always say there is no Diamond Dallas Page without Dusty Rhodes. I mean, I've said it thousands of times. I never forget where I came from. And I'm thinking, well, who else doesn't know? And I go, fuck, Randy doesn't. I'll bet you he doesn't know how much I appreciate this. So I pick up the phone, and I leave him a message. I go, hey, Randy, this is going to sound really corny, but, I got a bunch of people tweeting me, Happy Thanksgiving, and thanking me for helping them out, getting a job here, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, who am I thankful for, man? And I think, fuck, Randy Savage, dude, I've got to call you and thank you for really helping me get to this spot. I couldn't have done it without you, man. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I hung up. Well, the next week, he's not the TV. I think he's on vacation. So it's like 2 weeks later, and I see him backstage. And when he, the way he walked around sometimes, that was that motherfucker in the back, too, and you know that. He's wired different. And when he sees me, he goes, Diamond, come here. I'm thinking, fuck, what did I do? So I'm walking over to him, he grabs me, and he pulls me off. He goes, come here. He goes, I got your message. And I got to tell you. And he's fucking looked like he's going to kill me, His eyes are fucking all wound up. He goes, I got your message, and I called my dad up, and I played it for him. And I said, Dad, does any of the boys ever do that for you? He goes, no, Randy. He goes, I never heard of that before. And he goes, that's what I thought. He goes, Diamond, I just want you to know it meant a lot. And he gave me a really big hug. It was like, that's how intense that cat was,
Man, I tell you what, I just, I remember you've told me that story before, but I always love hearing that. And, that's, that was a heavy-duty cat. I wish he was still around. And I know that meant a lot to him. And you mean a lot to a lot of people right now because you're changing lives. And we're going to close the chapter on pro wrestling. We'll talk a little bit about it because it's why you developed DDP Yoga. But we're going to take a break, talk to our sponsors for just a second. The man, Diamond Dallas Page, is going to talk about the system, DDP Yoga, that's changing lives all around the world. Coming back.
Hi, I'm Jessie Prey.
And I'm Andy Cassette. Welcome to Love Murder, where we unravel the darkest tales of romance turned deadly.
Our episodes are long-form, narrative-driven, and deeply researched. Perfect for the true crime aficionados seeking stories beyond the headlines.
Like the chilling case of Blanche Taylor Moore, the so-called Black Widow who left a trail of poisoned lovers.
Or the shocking murders of Chad Shelton and Dwayne Johnson, where family ties masked a sinister plot.
Subscribe to Love Murder on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Welcome to the Steve Austin Show.
Diamond Dallas Page, my old buddy from a long time ago. Guy who has worked his ass off to entertain people all over the world and who continues as the working man, but in a different way. He's developed a system called DDP Yoga, which is literally changing lives all over the world. You've got cats doing this stuff in Afghanistan and the NFL and WWE and TNA. I'm about to try it myself, but let's get the 411 from the man himself and talk about the creation, the conception, and the adaptation, all the transitions that this system has made to become the force that it is to change lives all over around the world. Dallas, tell me about this yoga thing, because I've known you forever. You came out to my crib back in the day. You put me through a workout. Why is everybody falling in love with the DDP yoga system?
Well, I think, first of all, I've got to clear up for anybody who hears yoga and thinks, fuck, I'm not doing yoga. I was that guy, and I get that. So, just, listen to what I have to say for a minute when it comes down to actually fucking being a guy who says, fuck, I wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. I was that guy for the first 42 years of my life. But when you start wrestling at 35, your career doesn't take off until you're 40. At 41 and 42, you were on top of the world. 96, 97, 98, I was constantly trying to find ways to hold back the hands of time. And then, boom, I blow out my back, and 3 doctors tell me my career is over. I'll try anything. I mean, I just got there. I just got to the top of the heap, and now the 3 specialists are telling me I'm fucking done. Now, I'd rehab both shoulder surgeries. I rehab both knee surgeries back, so I know a little bit about rehab. I talked to the guy who's helping with the rehabilitation for my back, and he was like, well, you'll never really be able to actually get in the ring and do this as well because you'll end up being a crippled. And that's like the last thing I don't want to end my business being where I can't walk around.
That's
even
not
though
good.
I beat up my body so much. So the bottom line is, around that time, I was married to Kimberly, and she was like, why don't you try yoga to heal your body? Like, yoga? I'm not fucking doing yoga. And
You're from Jersey. You ain't doing yoga?
That's where I was in the beginning. I wouldn't do it, and that was my mindset. But now they're telling me my career is going to be over. So she sort of bullied me into it, to trying it. And I got to tell you, I thank God every day, Steve, that she did, because it's in 3 weeks, I felt a significant difference in my flexibility and my core strength. So now, I'm doing it a couple of times a day. And when it gets to going to bed, I already know how to do a bunch of these positions, a bunch of these moves. I'll do some before I go to bed to help stretch myself out. Now, the whole time I've been doing the rehab. I've still been going down to rehab, too. So I just start to mix those rehab positions with the yoga positions. And then I decided to add in old school calisthenics, push-ups, squats, crunches, done with like a slow burn movement. And my body started getting stronger. And I decided after 8 weeks, I'm feeling pretty good. And you know how I do those push-ups. I lower for 3 seconds. I hold there 3 inches off the ground for 3 seconds. Then I push up for 3 seconds, come down for 3 seconds, hold for 3 seconds. Then I go into a yoga position, a cobra into a down dog. Well, in the beginning, I had to do my push-ups on my knees like a girl because my back was blown out. My core was gone. Eventually, I got off my knees, though. Eventually, those 3-second push-ups became 5-second push-ups. The 5-second push-ups became 10-second push-ups, and then it became sets of 10-second push-ups in my workout. So now my body's getting stronger. I decide I'm 8 weeks into this rehab. I decide I'm going to get on that Stairmaster, and I'm going to start to really work, get my cardio back up as well. And, I do my workout with a heart rate monitor. And I want to make sure that I stay in my zone so I don't overtrain myself or hurt myself. So I get on that Stairmaster, and I stay right at my heart rate about 130, 133. That's low enough where I won't hurt myself, but it's high enough to burn some fat and get some cardio going. And about 3 or 4 days of doing that, I get off the Stairmaster, get on the mat, and I'm doing my shit. And I guess I'd done some 10-second push-ups. So I was into some kind of engaging physical part of the workout, and I happened to look at my heart rate monitor, and it said 140 beats a minute. I'm thinking, how the fuck is that possible? I'm not on the Stairmaster. I'm on the mat.
Right.
And then I started to realize, and today it's like a whole different level than it was back then. But I started to realize that every time I flex or engage a muscle, my heart has to beat faster to get the blood to the muscle. And what ended up happening is I ended up developing, completely by accident, a kick-ass cardiovascular workout that would dramatically increase your flexibility and your core strength. But the key is here, minimal joint impact. No wear and tear on your body while you're strengthening your core and increasing your flexibility. So in less than 3 months, I was back in the ring. So at 42, they said my career was over. At 43, I was the heavyweight champ of the world. And I'm going to keep doing that shit. And I started turning people onto it. And it just started, one by one. It was sort of like my career as a wrestler. I turned one person at a time onto being a fan. And that's what happened with DDP Yoga. And then the disabled veteran. I remember you. Were you in Mexico when you saw that video went viral? Is that where you were?
Yeah, I was in Mexico.
It meant a lot to me, dude. You called me up, and you were so proud of me for that video taking off.
Yeah, but see, I was proud of you because I used to live with your ass when you started this thing, and it went through all the transitions that it did and ended up turning into DDP Yoga. And I'm sitting there, because living with you was a unique experience. I mean, if one thing about Dallas is, man, this son of a bitch is crazier than a shithouse rat. Love him to death. An absolute clean, neat freak. Everything is organized. And as soon as the son of a bitch gets up, after he wakes up, he sleeps in late, but he goes in his office and starts working. Then, he'll go out and chase some trim every now and then, but you work your ass off. This has been a labor of love and your passion for so long, and saved and turned around your career. Finally, it starts paying off for you, and then you see the transformation that it makes for Arthur Borman. When that thing blew up, it was like, man, I might as well have invented it. That's how happy I was for you.
It really blew the company, made it $1 million company, in 1 year. Now, it took 10 years to get there.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears on your end.
Yeah, absolutely, and belief, because believe me, I had $500,000 of my own money in this. As this venture went on, Steve, I know you know that I put everything into it. I wouldn't take anybody else's money because I wanted it to be. If I fuck up, I want it to be on me. I don't believe in other people's money. If you really believe in your concept, if you want to own it, like I do, but I would start to, like anybody, pull themselves down with what I call emotional gravity, and start thinking, God, did I really like so many wrestlers? And, we've been fortunate. We've been smart with our money, and we've worked in that direction. But a lot of poor guys, they weren't, and they made bad investments. And sometimes I would say to myself, when I was like $300,000 or $400,000 in, like, did I fuck up? Did I put everything into this and it's not going to go? And then I get that email from a complete stranger and thanking me. I just got one just now. Went through my publicist, came right to me. I mean, if you go to DDP Yoga, one word on Facebook, read what people write. They would find a way to get to my direct email because there was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. There was none of that shit. And they'd find a way to get to me and thank me for helping them change their life and creating this program. And I go, this is going to be unbelievable. And I get on the mat, and the number one thing with the mat, I know I'm walking off de-stressed no matter what. And I've never walked off the mat ever in my life going, fuck, I wish I didn't do that. But I'll guarantee you, I left the gym 5 to 10% of the time going, oh, fuck, why did I let my ego check in there? My shoulder, my pec, my tricep. I'm always doing something to myself. But with that workout, it would just focus me. And Arthur's story, it radiated with so many people. It gave... I gave one guy hope. He has given millions. We're over 9.4 million views on that video.
9.4 million. That's absolutely incredible. So you've got the website, ddpyoga.com?
Right.
So people can go on there to check out the system. You've got all your... How can people find access to the program?
Well, that ddpyoga.com, if they want to invest in a program, they want to get it. Out of it, like the Twitter, I'm always on Twitter. I have a guy who helps me named Bill, but I'm the guy. When it comes from me, it comes from me. At Real DDP and at DDP Yoga on Twitter. And I got a lot of people, a lot of force of people always, you become more accountable. And that's what people need. You need accountability. That's what DDP's accountability crib's all about. Just being accountable. It just makes you work harder, makes you focus more. It helps you manifest your dreams into a real reality. But my Facebook, DDP Yoga, one word on Facebook, if you just want to see what people are really saying, go there and just read through some of the comments, because it's like you can't make people chant Austin. You can't make them chant DDP. They only because they believe it, and they believe in the character. You can't make people write the shit they do on Facebook. You just can't do it. You can control a couple, but you really can't control the masses. And, the whole thing with DDP Yoga is once you get, the program, we invite you to Team DDP Yoga. And I think I said it earlier in an interview I did today. I don't, anybody who wants to go sign up on teamddpyoga.com, go check it out. even if you're just looking for the inspiration, to keep focused on whatever goal you're going to get. And I know at some point people are going, damn, I got to try this shit. Everybody seems pretty pumped about it.
But you just got back from Mexico on your DDP Yoga seminar, that was a big success. I saw the footage that you had on your website, and looked like everybody was jacked up. It was a neat video, you guys. You did like 2 hours and 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So what's the next movement? What's the next step for DDP Yoga?
Well, it'll only hit like worldwide, monster exposure. We do an infomercial. We finished it. I put all my own money into it. I call it a documercial, and because it's really inspiring things as opposed to, inspiring stories. It's not about, hey, look at my abs. It's like, hey, look at my life and what I've done with my life and how I own my life. And, we just started it. One of the biggest things we're doing besides getting ready to launch the, which I'm going to call a documercial, we'll launch that this fall, getting ready for the new year. But the thing I'm the most excited about is we started the DDP Yoga Challenge. And what that is, it's a $25,000 contest. There'll be 3 winners of $5,000. And we're talking about an inspiring blog, video, using YouTube or Vimeo, written copy, pictures. What are you doing to inspire yourself to own your life? And while you're inspiring yourself, you're inspiring others. So whoever has the net, we started this contest about 3 weeks ago, and in another 2 more months, we'll hit the 3-month mark where we're going to award someone $5,000 for having the most inspiring blog. Then we're going to do it again when we hit the 6-month mark. Who's had a most inspiring blog over the last 6 months? Now, it can't be 2 winners. It can't be 1 winner. There'll be 2 winners. Then we're going to have one at the end of the year. And at the end of the year, that'll be 12 months, and we're going to give another $5,000. Now, out of those 3 winners, we're going to give, there'll be 3 of them. They'll all go on a year. So who's the most inspiring blog out of that? I've got my 5-6 people who are really inspiring, from Arthur to this woman, Stacey Morris, who lost 185 pounds in 18 months and has kept it off for 2 years. This woman, Terry Lang, who's a major force. She's the godmother of DDP Yoga. They're all the people who are going to be picking the winners of the 3 winners, and whoever wins out of that 1 year, blog combination, they're going to get another $10,000. Now, if you want to see, if you go to ddpyogachallenge.com and watch the video there, we went to Arthur Borman because we got to take care of him. He's the most inspiring guy over the last year. So we went to his house, and I was also say you got to see his expression because
there was no expression. He didn't know what to think. He didn't know where to shit or wind his watch. He was speechless. It was great. He was in a bad way. The money came at a great time, and you can't get a more inspirational story than Arthur Borman.
It was priceless, man. And it's a way for us to actually continue to move out into social networking. And I know you're a big guy on Twitter, and you're friggin' shit. Some of the shit you put up there is funny as shit. But what you're doing now with your blogcast and stuff, we know that it's all about social media. And this is how we're reaching out. Olive, I guess the guy's Fit for Life, the guy who used to do $100,000 contests. Like my partner, Steve Yu, his wife won that Fit for Life contest, $100,000. So he knew what that happened in their life and how it just blew out there. So that's what we're trying to do. We're going to do a $25,000 contest this year for the most inspiring blog. And next year, I'm sure it'll be a $50,000 contest. The year after, it'll probably be $100,000. We want to keep it out there on the internet, and we have so many amazing people blogging about DDP Yoga, and we were just down in Mexico at the retreat. We had 80 people there, and the only reason we didn't go over that is because I didn't want it to be any more than that, because I wanted to be able to connect with everyone. And 20 of them were either my, combination of 20 were families and people who've been down there enough times, so they helped out with everybody. But there were 60 new people there that were we had an amazing time down there.
Well, I'll tell you what, you had 80 people down there at the camp in Mexico, but you're fixing to have one more here in Hollywood, California. I'm going to start doing the DDP yoga program. I've got about a month to go before I start filming on a movie, and I need some core strength. And you know me, you put me through a yoga workout way back in the day, and that was it. But you've kind of refined it. You've tweaked it a little bit. I've got the DVD you sent me. Steve Austin is about to undertake DDP yoga and see what it can do for me. And I'll tell you what, man, I need some more core strength because I work out everything in a damn gym. I'm a gym rat, but hell, I started having sex the other day with this fine individual female. I blew up about a minute in. I need some core strength. If this can make me look better, feel better, and fuck better, I'm in, brother. This is Steve Austin. I'm sitting here with Gimme Mo Darwish. Dallas, it's been a great time talking to you. You're one of my closest friends. We got to talk a lot in the last 2 episodes about a little pro wrestling, but really to hammer the nail home on DDP yoga and the transformation it's helping people in all walks of life from all over the world. So thank you very much for coming on the show. We got ddpyoga.com. Your DDP Yoga on Twitter. What's your other Twitter handle?
At Real DDP.
At Real DDP on Twitter. So, Dallas, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for joining us for another classic episode of The Steve Austin Show. Please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends. For more Steve Austin Show, go to PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
This September, CBS hits are streaming free on Pluto TV.
I'm coming in hot.
For this month only, you can watch full seasons of the CBS shows you love. From the courtroom drama of Matlock to the heroics of Fire Country. Go back to where it all began in NCIS Origins, or watch the hilarious hauntings of ghosts, all for free. Full seasons of the CBS shows you love. This month only on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.